AMVs, or anime music videos, have had a large impact on how I make my promotional videos. And while there are a lot of bland and boring AMVs out there, some people actually pour time and effort into theirs by adding lots of cool effects that look something like this. I discovered a plethora of different editing techniques through videos like these, and only because of that was I able to craft the editing style that I have today. My WrestleMania pay-per-view is likely to feature an abundance of promos like this, so before I go into hiding to work on all of them, I'd first like to showcase some of my personal favorite AMVs that inspired me. I'll provide links to all of these videos in the description if you're interested in watching the full versions. Though if you live outside of the US, it's possible that copyrighted music got the video blocked in your country. Best Anime Ever, Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann Part 1 is not your typical AMV. The opening is a minute-long segment where this boring guy talks about how he's going to watch a show, and then he takes this massive swig of what I assume is an alcoholic beverage. Once the proper AMV kicks in, it's nothing but a bunch of fades and jump cuts. This video barely qualifies as an AMV, so why the hell is it... Wait, why is he stepping into the frame? Oh, I see what's going on here. It's different, that's for sure, but there's no way that something like this could ever be considered a great music vid. I might have to reevaluate this list. Give me a second. Simplicity isn't inherently bad. While there are plenty of AMVs out there that have seemingly no effort put into them, there is also an excess of videos that have too many effects dumped into them. To me, a good AMV needs two things: competent editing and a clear story that is being told. These videos are a platform for experimentation, and some are strictly intended to be a display of flashy effects. After all, the best way to learn anything is by doing that thing. For example, you can study all of the literature that you want, but until you actually write something, you're not going to get better at it, which is why I need to keep writing those stories that I'm working on. However, these effect pieces sometimes fail to execute on fundamental necessities of editing. When I can barely process a third of the images that are flashing by on the screen, your video isn't going to resonate with me. Paint into Power does an excellent job at being simple, yet effective. Character pieces are tough to execute, because not everyone has the same image of a single person. In this case, the song matches both the character and the visuals, the shot selection is expertly timed, and there is a clear story progression from beginning to end. Nothing feels out of place, and while the video mainly consists of zooming, fading, and jump cutting, it didn't need any flashy effects to tell its story. I'm also a sucker for the inclusion of manga panels, and those final 8 seconds where he travels backwards through Gohan's life give me chills. I'd also like to note that I'm not really into this genre of music, so the fact that this guy kept me engaged throughout the whole video is impressive. You know that an AMV is good when the song plays on repeat in your head for the next several days. Speaking of character tributes, would you like another? In terms of effects, developments is the next step above Paint into Power. There's still plenty of zooming and fading, but while the latter sort of lags at the end with a bunch of random action scenes, the former doesn't have that problem. You could argue that the first 34 seconds do just that, but those visuals both set the tone for the rest of the AMV, as well as compact Goku's childhood into a single, easily digestible image. There's a brief sequence in Paint into Power when the footage jumps from adolescent Gohan to young Gohan to adolescent Gohan and back to young Gohan, and it lacks the impact that the succeeding rewind through time has. Considering that the rest of that AMV was chronological, this particular moment comes off as, I need to fill time in this song. Let me throw this in here. Developments has some cool visual quirks as well. Footage is overlaid on top of other footage. There's a few instances of masking and motion blurring. Even little things like the suspenseful letterboxing and clever use of the curtain transition impress me. What else can I say other than this video is top notch? Before I begin, just have a look at this intro. Did you catch all of that? Let me slow it down for you. He does the time rewind too! How did I only just realize this? You Can't Deny Us comes straight out of the gate, all guns blazing. So you know that when the chorus picks up, we're firing on all cylinders, baby. I had never heard Rise Against Satellite before, but man was I in for a hell of an introduction. Just watch this clip.
You won't know your worth now, son, until you take a head.
That is excellent visual storytelling. and the lyrics and tone of the song matched it perfectly. Even if you haven't seen Gurren Lagann before, this shot is masterfully cut in a way that immediately gets you inside of these characters' heads and makes you aware of the dynamics of their relationship. Obviously, the source material plays a big role in the impact of this scene, but a less capable editor would have just ripped the scene straight from the episode without trimming anything. As a result, the lyrics of the song would have been completely disconnected from the visuals, thus negating the beauty of what this 7-second shot became. Judging by the backdrop and the lighting, it's clear that these people are somewhere underground. The shaky camera, coupled with the panicked expressions we see in the foreground, tell us that something is wrong. With one look at the main character's expressions, you understand exactly how they are feeling. The tall guy seems unfazed and even a bit annoyed by all of this, but the short kid is visibly concerned by what is happening. We jump straight to this horrified expression, and then this shot. When we cut back to the kid, he is literally on the verge of tears, and we see precisely why in the next 3 images that follow. For those of you who haven't seen the show, Simon's parents were killed in an earthquake very similar to the one that is taking place in this scene. Me explaining that to you isn't really necessary since this AMV basically gives you that idea on its own. That was more so a confirmation for the idea that you probably already had. Then we cut back to this shot of the tall guy comforting Simon, thus cementing the bond that these two have with each other. The source material obviously provided this guy with plenty of ammunition to be able to pull this off, but it takes talent to condense the content and the message of a show into such a short clip as this. There are plenty of other shots like this, but if I analyzed all of them, we'd be here all day. This just happens to be the first and most memorable one to me. I could also talk about the various effects and transitions that make this video stand out, but you can see them for yourself. Just know that this AMV is phenomenal, just like the show it portrays. Let's try this again. Best anime ever, Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann Part 1 is the best video ever. Then why is it only at number 2? This video breaks all the conventions of what I consider to be a great AMV, and I fucking love it. I stressed the beauty of simplicity at the beginning of the video, but the beauty of this video far exceeds its simplicity. Let's start with the music. Dead or Alive's You Spin Me Round has next to nothing to do with Gurren Lagann, and that's precisely why it works. It's so out of left field that it somehow complements the tone of the show. Speaking of matching the spirit of Gurren Lagann, how about that reaction slideshow? This AMV manages to craft 3 narratives into a single sequence. We see the journey of the show, Guy's experiences in tandem with the story, and the evolution of Guy as a person. Through a handful of costume changes, Guy transforms from an insecure skeptic to a full-blown mark. With all of this depth in play, the magic is only strengthened by a rewatch. This AMV is every bit as over-the-top and bombastic as the show itself. And that, my friends, is how you encapsulate the heart of a show in both form and function.
10 out of 10!
So if number 2 was the perfect representation of how you can capture the spirit of a story in a transformative manner, then what could possibly be number 1? How about an alternative take on the material that moves the plot in an entirely different direction? From the Ashes not only preserves the spirit and themes of Fullmetal Alchemist, but it strengthens them by erasing an entire character from the majority of the story. How the hell did he do that? I honestly have no idea. It takes more than masking to erase something from a scene while simultaneously keeping the environment intact. It sounds like a frame-by-frame Photoshop edit if you're asking me, but I clearly have a lot more to learn from this field. As you would imagine, this completely changes the dynamics of the story. For those of you who haven't seen Fullmetal Alchemist, Edward and Alphonse Elric are 2 brothers who specialize in alchemy. After their mother dies from an illness, the 2 boys attempt to bring her back to life via a human transmutation, a practice that is forbidden among all alchemists. The Elrics not only fail to resurrect their mother, but Ed loses an arm and a leg, while Alphonse loses his entire body in the process. In the show itself, Ed manages to save his brother by attaching his soul to a suit of armor, and one of the only encouraging aspects of the show is that no matter what, these 2 brothers always had each other's backs. In the AMV, there is no soul binding. Alphonse is dead, and Edward has only himself to blame. Submersed's Hollow was a gut-wrenchingly good fit for the abysmal tale that follows. Ed still does the same things that he did in the show, but his motivation for doing so is far more tragic and significant. He isn't just looking to get his and his brother's bodies back. He's looking to bring his little brother back to life. Even if we strip away the original take on the story and its significance to the narrative of this AMV, a wealth of impressive visuals still remains. Between the video overlays, the masking, and any other technique that I haven't already mentioned, this AMV maintains a dark, depressing appearance that flawlessly matches the tone of the show. This all came from a project that was made in 2006, 3 years before FMA was readapted into Brotherhood. From what I could gather about the guy who made it, this was the last AMV that he ever made. And if he was aiming to go out with a bang, man did he ever do just that. If someone had made this in 2016, I would have been impressed. But this was created long before then. To avoid spoiling anything else, all I will say is, watch the original Fullmetal Alchemist anime if you haven't already seen it, and then watch this AMV. It would be a crime if you didn't. Thanks for watching the video. I wouldn't be surprised if this one gets me a bit of blowback because I'm a WWE channel and this isn't why people subscribe to me. But if I'm passionate about something, this is the platform to talk about it on. It just so happened that WWE Gaming was all that I had anything substantial to comment on for a while. If there's any anime-related topics that you would like me to talk about in the future, let me know in the comments. Though if you made it to this point in the video, you probably don't care what I talk about as long as I'm enjoying talking about something. As always, be sure to share the video if you enjoyed it, and until next time, keep on YouTubing.